Welcome to the Popcorn Talk Network, for the online broadcast network that features movie discussion, news, and interviews. Press 1. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies.
Let those who worship evil's might beware my power. Green Lantern's light.
From the Popcorn Talk Network, the online broadcast network for movie talk, and the schmoes know, this is DC Movie News, bringing you the most up-to-date discussion and commentary within the DC Universe.
It's time to get rolling here. By God, rumors and spoilers and feeling feels. Oh my. Welcome. I'm just throwing coasters. Welcome to the DC Movie News Show right here on the Popcorn Talk Network and AfterBuzz TV. What's up, everybody? What a big week we had last Thursday. Here we are again. So much going on. A lot of stuff to talk about. Adam Gertler is in Florida. We don't know why. We assume not by choice.
Just cuz.
He's in Florida. Yeah. When you're in Florida, you're not ever really there. Well,
No,
what?
not for more than a few days.
I love Florida.
I like
It's
Disney
not a
World.
good place.
Wait, just while we're on the topic of things that you've said, what are feeling feels?
I don't know. It's just a
Emotion, these?
Yeah, emoticons, real life emoticons.
Oh, got it.
But yeah, he's in Florida. But most importantly, watch his brand new show tonight on the FYI network. It's called Man vs. Child. So look up FYI on your cable box. Adam Gertler's going to be hosting it. Support the show because we want him to get as many episodes as possible. Let's do it.
Right, it's kid chefs competing against adult chefs. It's supposed to be really awesome, so
Yeah.
I'm excited for him.
Salmonella everywhere. It's going to happen.
Salmonella.
Salmonella.
Salmonella is a whole different thing.
Yeah.
Be like Nilla salmon.
With that said, let's get rolling here. A lot of stuff to talk about here at DC Movies SK on Twitter, Facebook.com/DC Movies SK. I am at Jay Quasto. I'm at the Brea Improv this Thursday. If you're in Southern California, come see me. I'll hook you up with free tickets. The people on the other side of the table, that man right there, he has a brand new podcast out called Crazy Sexy Geeks. He is also the author of Doctor Who, A History. He's a frequent friend of the show. Find him on Twitter at Sizzler Kistler. He's Alan Sizzler Kistler.
Hey, everybody. I should also say, so tomorrow I've been called back to Warner Brothers Animation Studio to be part of a documentary for one of their upcoming animated DVDs.
You're very popular.
What are you doing?
Yeah, cool things. Cooler than us.
What do you get to talk about?
I believe I'm talking about certain things related to Gotham.
The TV show?
No.
Or the city?
No, the city. The
Okay,
city.
I was going to say,
It's for the animated films, because I'm in the documentaries for on the DVDs of Aquaman Adventures and Justice League New Frontier and the Blu-ray for Superman Batman Apocalypse.
So you're like one of the historians that they go to for these cool documentaries. Oh my God, that's awesome.
So
while you're by Gotham, can you stop at Metropolis for us, please?
Yeah, please.
I would
Just as a
love
favor,
that.
would you mind doing that?
Can you see how Wayne Enterprises is doing?
I have a couple things I need you to pick up there. Just a few errands, you know?
That Supergirl pilot. It's good. I liked it. I liked it. I had a good time with that.
I'm with you.
Yeah,
Excellent.
so that's going to be fun. So yeah, on an upcoming animated feature, you'll see me in the special features again.
Congratulations. That's awesome. Yeah, give a round of applause for that. That's fantastic. Well, good to have you back. We got to hang out a little bit at Comic-Con. You were a busy guy, but we all got to chill a little bit. So it was fun.
we all coincidentally met at the DC booth.
We did.
Oh, yeah, such a coincidence when you text everybody to come somewhere at the same time.
Show up and say hi, damn it. We had 9 minutes of an episode.
You're ruining this, Roxy.
Sorry.
Illusion.
Ruin
And
everything.
our own version of Harley Quinn, she is found on Twitter at Roxy Striar. She is Beantown's finest. She's Roxy Striar.
Is that because I had the pigtails in that I'm Harley Quinn today? Because usually you call me Wonder Woman, and I'm thinking
I mean,
I
you
like...
got the shirt.
You have a shirt on, for God's sake.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
You were Wonder Woman last week. This week you're Harley Quinn.
Yeah, well, I do love me some Harley, so I just need to get the blonde hair. And Gertler taught me a new trick. I guess you dip your hair in...
Kool-Aid.
Yeah, in Kool-Aid.
You can get Kool-Aid colors.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you sure he wasn't punking you?
It's real.
I asked somebody.
All right,
I
cool.
asked somebody about
How have
it.
you never heard? I've heard of this.
Well, I'm a brunette. It doesn't work on brunettes. Oh. You got to be a blonde.
Yeah, I know plenty of chicks
I
that
used
would
to be
just dip in
blonde.
that Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Then they drank it. You know?
Anyway.
What was that laugh for?
Well, just like, why would you drink the Kool-Aid after your hair was in it? That's
Well,
kind of...
I don't know. Why not? Kool-Aid's delicious.
You're debating the science
You know
about
who would
this.
do that? Harley would do that. Harley would drink
do
that Kool-Aid
Yeah.
after.
Yeah.
Should be poison in that Kool-Aid, too.
Yeah, see.
All right, let's get rolling
With some
here.
pudding.
Many things to talk about. First things first, the official synopsis of BVS, plus an IMAX trailer, and some new photos were released. We got a couple of them coming up for you right now. But I'm going to read the official synopsis, and let's react to that. Here we go. I'm going to do movie trailer voice.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love
I
when
was
you
to
do
say, we
this.
need the dramatic reading.
All right, here we go.
In a world.
It doesn't say in a world, but I'll add it in.
We're not savages.
In a world where people are fearing the actions of a godlike superhero left unchecked, Gotham City's own formidable, forceful vigilante takes on Metropolis's most revered modern-day savior, while the world wrestles with what sort of hero it really needs. And with Batman and Superman at war with one another, a new threat quickly arises, putting mankind in greater danger than it's ever known before. BVS.
You should just use this show as a platform to book things. You got that great voice, sir.
Hire me. So, what do we think, guys? Gang, ladies, gentlemen?
No huge surprises there.
No.
Yeah, it's basically what we gathered already.
Yeah.
I'm glad it was released in that order, though, that we got to see and then we got to read. I think it's good. I think it's interesting. I'm excited. I'm no more excited than I was prior to reading it or hearing. Well, actually, I'm a little more excited after hearing you read it. It really made it come to life. For
Appreciate
me.
it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I really get those words off that paper.
You really do.
I try my best.
I mean, I am glad that it's confirming there's another threat that's rising, and it's not just them, because that was something that some people were concerned about. Like, is it just them fighting with Lex Luthor sort of in the background, and then they realize, like, oh, okay, we should be friends.
Right.
And it is nice. I didn't think they were going to do that, but it is nice to have confirmation of, like, no, there's a rising threat.
And I don't think it's referring to Lex either.
No, it definitely
I don't
isn't.
think it is either.
We
I
know
got
when
that
it comes to Lex, we are playing a long game here. We have to be. He's going to be around for a while, so we can't have him be the biggest, baddest for this movie, because then we wouldn't have anywhere to go with
Still
him.
has hair.
Yeah, he does. That is true. But I think that there's definitely something else. We've talked about a couple different options. We don't know what it will be. I'm kind of excited to find out. You know, I love my spoilers, so
Well, the
I'm
fact
hoping
that
I
we
learn
see
quickly.
a Zod corpse,
Yeah.
that's not just for funsies. That's something real. That's going to be something major.
Yeah, you can take that into a bunch of ways. You can take that into a Bizarro. You can take that into Doomsday.
You could just take it into research, though.
You can take it
also.
into research. You could, it could be in the comics. There was Squad K, which was the government task force designed to kill Superman if he went out of control. You could have, based on an autopsy of Zod, Squad K rise.
Right. Or it could just be Lex trying to figure out what his weaknesses are.
Yeah.
There's a million different things.
There
His
was
body
something-
reacts to magic.
Or it could be Batman trying to figure it out. Yeah.
Well, there's something really interesting I watched this morning. Someone on YouTube says they have a connection and they heard some things about how Joker's cameo is. And they're saying that it might be in a dream sequence where they might actually recreate the Killing Joke in Batman vs. Superman.
Well, we saw the suit that has the spray paint on it, the Robin suit in the trailer. Right. That says, "Ha jokes on you," which really, it's one of those things where that's so on the nose. Like, if it just said "ha ha," I would think, like, oh, that's dark. When it says, like, that whole sentence, like, "Ha jokes on you, Batman," it's like, really? It's just a
Oh, I
little on the
loved that.
nose.
I thought it was
that made it a little like, I don't know.
Too obvious?
It was so obvious, yeah.
I think it is obvious, but he's very obvious. I think that's very...
I don't think the Joker's very obvious. I think he's cleverer. Like, he's very witty.
You don't find that to be clever? I think
No,
that
not when you're spelling it all out. If he had written "I win" on it, like, that would be something badass.
it's clever enough that it's clearly become like memorabilia to Batman. He's thinking...
Well,
all
yeah,
right.
because the person who wrote the line also wrote the movie.
Yeah, that's
Right.
true.
Like-
That's true. Did you think? I know I keep talking about this last week too, but did you think that matched the handwriting of the note he got on the letter saying you killed your family? Do you think? Are you thinking? Same person?
I hadn't considered that.
Okay, I'm really into the handwriting these days, guys. I'm needing an expert.
Does handwriting transfer to spray paint?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
I'm not a
but-
handwriting expert.
By the way, I'm corrected by Danny B Reviews. Death of the Family, not Killing Joke. I was watching too much random stuff today.
All right. I think that's, well, because a lot of this movie is taking notes from Dark Knight Returns.
Yep.
And in Dark Knight Returns, one factor about why Batman is in that story a little more on edge and darker than he was traditionally portrayed at that time in DC Comics is that Jason Todd, the second Robin, was seen as having died at this point, and presumably having died in battle. He wouldn't actually die in the comics for a few more years. And so I think that's very much a strong possibility that we will see a flashback to Death in the Family, or some altered version where they have Dick Grayson die instead.
When you say that it's a possibility, is that something you would be looking forward to, or do you feel like it's too soon and we don't need to see that yet? Or it doesn't really have place because this movie has such a big, we're going to tackle so much.
Again, like it might work for the movie. Like now we're going into more personal preference than whether I think it'll work in the movie or not. It very well could work in the movie and the kind of movie they're doing. Personally, I wouldn't want to see that. I would rather see, if we're going to do Jason Todd, then let's actually see it happen.
The murder.
And, or even just Jason Todd at all a little bit. Jason Todd shouldn't be someone who... The most significant thing about him is he died.
Right.
Like if you're really going to go there, and especially if you're doing an adaptation where millions of people don't know who Jason Todd is, and they could discover through this movie, wouldn't it be great if we actually introduced him as a character that we had some kind of attachment to before he died?
Well, I think that we always have the opportunity to go back. We set it up so we know exactly how it turns out, but we don't know how he got there, and then we can go back and we can explain everything.
But again, it just, to me, I think that gets used too often. Like you're making him a ghost, and no matter what you see in the past, and you still got it in his head, but he died. Whereas like the first Captain America movie, we got to know Bucky before he died.
Sure, that's true.
And I think that affected things for millions of people who had never heard of Bucky Barnes before. That really affected them, and it really shocked them when he died. Even though some of them had friends who said, no, he comes back later. Like, it was a shocking moment for them, and really rocked in the story. And, yeah, I also, between the two of them, Superman needs more exploration right now. We're still forming the Superman of this movie universe. So, I would be fine with pulling more back on Batman and letting Superman have more of a spotlight and more development.
Any thoughts on the rumor? And this is what I was talking. When I mentioned earlier about Joker's cameo, I wasn't talking about him and Jason Todd per se. I was talking about him shooting Barbara
Gordon.
Yeah. They're saying that might be part of a dream sequence.
Oh, they might the event that from the Killing Joke.
That's what I wasn't wrong. I was like, wait,
no.
I mentioned the Killing Joke. I said, it's from the Killing Joke, and the guy's like, no, that's what I meant when he shoots Barbara Gordon.
Got it.
Because they're saying maybe that might be part of the dream sequence. That might be where we see Joker, is him actually shooting her.
In what dream sequence? In a Batman dream sequence?
He has a dream sequence about his parents dying and like all these awful things happening.
Yeah. Which is why I thought that the note might be part of the dream sequence, or as like Batman has this feverish personality. He goes through these flashes and he has all these flashbacks and all the things that happened to him. So I think that that's very likely case scenario.
Because no one knows what Jenna Malone's doing yet.
Right. Nobody knows.
See, again, it's. What does it add to see? Is Oracle a character in this?
That's the thing.
Because if she's not, and you're just showing like one time the Joker shot a woman, like, well, so what? Lots of people shoot. Lots of like normal criminals shoot women. It's one of those things like when. No, I'm serious. Like if you're gonna show like a supervillain, let's see.
I just like that you changed the word "people" for criminals. Lots of normal people shoot women. And you're like,
no, well,
that's not quite true.
But it's like if you're going to show a supervillain, then really show me them being a supervillain and show me why this is someone so creative or unique that it takes someone like Batman and Superman to take them down.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where, and I'm sure we'll get into this, if they're adapting The Killing Joke, and I want them to change a few things around or really, if you're going to have the whole thing of Barbara gets shot and loses the loss of her legs, again, help us first have a sense of loss and understand that she was a superhero too, which The Killing Joke doesn't even really acknowledge, the original graphic novel. And
you want to know about her journey to Oracle.
Right, and exactly, and the journey to Oracle, which happened after the fact. That's not in the actual Killing Joke graphic novel, nor is it intended to be. That came later. But if you're going to do an adaptation, just like we've done with all the other adaptations, you have the freedom to pick and choose from other comics, and you have the hindsight of knowing where these characters ended later.
Yeah. Right.
So, but again, that all seems like that would be in a Batman movie, not a Batman and Superman movie.
Exactly, too much.
It's too much. Like
that's why we're going to go back in 2018. We're going to get our standalone.
And I hope we don't know, because I don't want to know what Joker's doing. I want to be surprised.
Going back to the Robin discussion for one quick second, from the chat from Tommy D, he says, you don't need to know the name of the Robin, just Robin died and it was my fault. What do you guys think about that?
I think that's not
too
true.
General?
No, because they're making a cinematic universe. If this were a standalone movie, that is absolutely correct. But it's not. This is a lead up to the Justice League. There's going to be another solo Batman film. you have to acknowledge
the relationship.
And especially like the fact is more and more of the general public now do know about the multiple Robins through video games like Arkham Knight, Arkham City, and the many cartoons. So it's not just something that only deep, hardcore comic book fans would know, so screw it.
And you got to believe the character's going to come back down the road. So you have to be a lot more specific, I would think.
Yeah.
Right, I agree.
Well, here we go. There's a really cool article that, let's see, what is this from comicbook.com. Batman v Superman in comparison, the trailer I should say, in comparison to what actually happened in the comics. We've got some really cool photos coming up here. First off, we have the Robin Memorial, which we've been talking about.
Right.
Almost, spitting image in the trailer to what is in the comic book right there.
Except we've taken out all the color.
Well, yeah. A little bit darker.
It's not even just darker, it's just a lack of color. Which again, I think you're missing an opportunity the same way I think they were missing an opportunity with Harley Quinn not wearing her costume in Suicide Squad. Like, you have the opportunity to show a character who does stand out from everything around them.
I don't know, because I feel like they have done a great job, DC, in lighting and coloring and setting the mood via the music and the lights. And I don't know. I wouldn't want to see anything too bright right now. I don't think it would make sense. And that's why I do think that when we do get to Flash or anything that can be a little more campy and bright, then we will get that pop.
They have a tone and they're going for it. But my thing is that it's making all the superheroes seem the exact same setting and adjustment. So
you feel like Superman and Batman are the same because they're both. I mean, I feel like there's a huge color visually.
No, visually they're looking like they do belong in the same world, and I find it more interesting when you have characters crossing over that they don't really look like they're from the same world necessarily. And especially Robin was always meant to be a contrast to Batman. Even when you had the more dark, violent Robins,
right,
it was still a visual contrast to Batman.
It goes back to Snyder's choice, really.
Exactly. It's the director's choice. Which again is why I'm saying this is a personal preference. Yep. It doesn't mean it's not going to work for the movie. I get why they're doing it for the movie.
Right. I love everything about Harley thus far, no doubt about that.
I think she'll be fun as a character.
Yeah.
I just think it's a loss. I think it would have been great if at one point you had her in the costume just to show how nuts and unique she is among the squad members.
Gonna crush it. So good.
Oh, I'm sure she'll be awesome. I'm looking forward to Suicide Squad.
They set themselves up for success with the casting on that one. There isn't much else that
she's really good. It's amazing she's like 25. She's that. It's like, what's her name?
I think she's 24, yeah.
The girl from Silver Linings Playbook, she's like 24 as well and is already one of the best out there.
Are you talking about Jennifer Lawrence?
Yeah.
Is that where you think about her from? Silver Lining Playbook? You think of J-Law, you think Silver Lining? No, I'm just curious. Is that what, like, you don't think Hunger Games, you think Silver Lining?
Yeah, because I'm from Philadelphia, so I think Silver Linings Playbook.
I love that movie. I think that's valid. I've never heard of anybody refer to her that way.
If it involves Philly, that's where I'm going.
That's the award winner.
Yeah. Anyways, Lex Luthor's hair. Lex Luthor's hair also, big thing. He had red curly hair in the comics. That's kind of why his hair looks like that. A lot of people are like, oh, why is his hair so long? Well, that's kind of what.
Or he had no hair.
Well, it's gonna lose. He's gonna lose eventually. The Waynes are murdered again.
We already saw that. We already saw him lose his hair. How are we gonna get there?
Well, the Waynes are murdered again. There's a shot right there. Then of course we have Gal Gadot in a white suit, and then of course Dark Knight Returns, which is really cool. We have the classic shot that's in the trailer very briefly. That's pretty much spitting image. Boom, right there.
Yeah, this is my favorite one of all the. I feel like all day today. The second I'm like, I love this. You're like.
No. So there's a lot about Zack Snyder's direction. Just I don't care for, and
right.
I've never been shy about saying that it's not my style, and I disagree with a lot of his direction. But there's no denying he's a fan, and I love these little touches. This sort of reminds me of when Watchmen came out, and just the way he was able to recreate some of those scenes was gorgeous.
So cool,
gorgeous, and I love that he came up with a way to do that. It's again, I wish this were the 6th or 7th DC movie instead of their first meeting. Because again, I think part of what really makes Dark Knight Returns work is that it's an end game. And to have it be the introduction of a new version of Batman and the first meeting between a Batman and a Superman as opposed to their last meeting, I think kind of misses the point. That doesn't mean it's going to be a terrible movie. I have no idea. I'll watch the movie. It's just my own preference. I got to say, if you go back to the Wonder Woman in the white suit, that's another interesting fan nod, because in the 70s and starting in the late 60s, Wonder Woman, they weren't sure what to do with her. Denny O'Neil, who later became much more famous for his work on Batman and Green Arrow and Green Lantern, back here, he was assigned to Wonder Woman, and he decided maybe the way to make her irrelevant again is to turn her into a streetwise vigilante. So she lost her powers, Paradise Island went away, and for a couple of years, Wonder Woman was this international troubleshooter who just went around kicking ass with martial arts, and she...
Right, in white suit.
Always in white outfits.
Everyone else black, dressed in black, and she's in white, yeah.
Right, and I see this, and I'm like, that's a cool nod. I dig that.
I think this is going to be so amazing, I think. There's a mashup. Someone made a Batman v Superman and Man of Steel mashup on YouTube.
Yo, okay.
That was fantastic.
This is really, really freaking awesome. Wow. Like, I think that it helps explain a lot of the feeling at the end of Man of Steel was, did they do that for visual effect? Why did we just knock down all of those buildings with just to create drama? What exactly is going on? And I feel like we're correcting a lot of those questions, and we're answering them at least. And this mashup for me, it worked so perfectly. This guy should get hired, or girl. I don't know who did it.
I don't know. We could show it. Can we show it?
I think it's awesome.
Does they have the link in the booth or no?
Did you send it to them?
No, you asked me if we want. I said, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, well,
How am I supposed to be the one that sends it?
You sent the rundown.
Okay, I didn't. Don't go tossing that at me. I did the rundown and everything.
Well, I'm just saying, you know as well as I do. So what we're looking for is
let's keep talking.
The BVS mashup with Man of Steel. Thank you.
Well, they'll look for it. We can continue on.
All right, here we go. How about this? Suicide Squad, as of a few days ago, that teaser has more views than the BVS trailer. Interesting. Now, granted, this is the first footage anyone has seen of Suicide Squad. There's a huge buzz around it. Plus, everyone knows the Joker's involved. I still am a little surprised by that.
You're surprised by what?
Yeah.
That Suicide Squad teaser has more views than the BVS trailer.
I mean, whether I'm gonna like BVS or not, like it's a dramatic trailer, and it gives you a lot to chew on. Whereas Suicide Squad really just shows you the cast. And sort of tells you the premise during a dinner scene, and that's it. Otherwise, it's a very generic trailer.
About Suicide Squad, I completely disagree.
I love it.
I felt like...
I didn't think it was bad. Like it's also it's a teaser, so I'm not judging it like a trailer.
I could have done without Will Smith talking. Otherwise, I really enjoyed it.
There's some kind of Suicide
do it.
Squad.
Don't do it.
Are you Will Smith?
I was actually more okay with that line than the Joker's line. The Joker's line was kind of lame to me.
Oh, I like that.
Like,
I was okay with that.
The delivery was good, but I'm going to hurt you real bad, because any villain can say that again.
It was very much like The Shining. It was cool.
Yeah, but again, like it's I want to hear something that like really is just how twisted the Joker is.
A couple of things. Number one, these are very, very close. So it's not like Suicide Squad is knocking BVS out of the park.
No.
They're very close, and I think that's important to note. It says something to how much people are wanting to see Suicide Squad, when I don't even know before Comic-Con weekend how many people actually were aware that Suicide Squad was even on the map. I have friends who still were like, wait, what is this thing? What is the Suicide Squad thing? Obviously, people who are huge fans of DC, probably most of you listening to this podcast, are very aware of Suicide Squad, but I think it's important to remember that Batman v Superman, everybody knows. Everybody knows that's coming out. So the fact that Suicide Squad pulled this many views is huge.
No, good for them.
Right, it is.
And I'm looking forward to the movie. I think the movie.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, the movie's gonna rock.
I thought this teaser was bone chilling. I thought that it made me have this visceral reaction to it, between the sound.
I started a joke. The remix.
I just thought that was incredible.
If it worked for you, that's fantastic.
Right, and I don't think it explained too much when you say it's generic. I suppose it wasn't like, wow, this plot is so crazy out there and different, but I love the little things like the panda suit and all of that. It's like, what are they doing? Who's fighting? What's going on here? Look at these people.
Well, a lot of those characters are smaller characters that have been in the comics.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
and nods to that. I just thought they did an amazing job. Everything with Margot Robbie, I'm like, what are you doing, and how beautiful and
she was fantastic. Now, the best part of that teaser was Harley.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, the biggest thing out of the Suicide teaser was I wanted more, which is what a teaser should leave you thinking.
Exactly.
So I'm fine with that.
And Viola Davis, damn.
Yeah. Wait, speaking of the Harley thing, just as he mentioned it, because I wanted to go back, there was a question from Abigail Reeds in the chat who said, how does Alan know that the Harley outfit isn't in the movie?
I think they mentioned it, but if it turns out to be fantastic, I'm just saying, like, if it's not, it's a lost opportunity.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. Hey, let's check out that mashup. I think we got it queued up, everybody. If you're listening, we're just gonna go through it.
Mash it.
But if you're watching, enjoy the heck out of it right now.
Mash it.
Here we go. Oh God, we can play music and noise. That's amazing.
As long as we're doing our thing over it.
So right now we got some Man of Steel action.
Do you guys want to have a Man of Steel party? We can all hang out and watch again?
I'm down.
In preparation?
Now we're going to cut to...
I know.
All right, we're going to cut.
By the way, an amazing seamless
jump cut. BBS.
So cool. So cool.
It's amazing. He sees what's happening.
I know.
2 different trailers.
And then we go to Affleck, and it's like, oh, wow, they really thought this through.
I'm sure we're going to see a scene cut very like this in the actual movie.
Do you think so?
I think it's the only way to make sense. This is a cold opening kind of thing.
They're not going to expect you just to remember it all.
Look at him.
Who is the girl? Who is he hugging? I must know.
Some random girl.
It's not. You think just some rando?
That's what gets me is when he's looking up and Soups is looking down. I'm like,
you think it's like Stephanie Brown or something?
Take my money. Take my money. Take my money.
I will take your money, but I won't take your coaster.
I'm beating the hell out of this coaster.
I know. Poor thing.
I'm amped up today. I got a lot of energy.
Yeah, the people listening at home just don't know what you're throwing.
It's a coaster. You put your drinks on it if you're a polite person, which I am not.
Oh, yeah, you got the drink over there on the table.
Hey, big news, guys.
What's the big news?
The Killing Joke animated movie is coming, and it's going to be amazing. The question is, there's rumors that Harley Quinn is going to be in it. Let's explain why that rumor is around. Here we go. Of course, everyone goes nuts at Comic-Con for the announcement of The Killing Joke. Obviously, written by Alan Moore, told the origin story of the Joker, and everyone we talked about earlier. Shoots paralyzes Barbara Gordon. She ends up becoming Oracle, but DC animator and producer Bruce Timm may have accidentally revealed it because he admitted they just finished a project with Tara Strong, who's been the voice of Harley Quinn since 2011. So everyone is assuming that means she's in the film. What do you think, Sis?
I think that would be fantastic because again, like they should feel free to reinterpret things as they want and to use the hindsight. I mean, some of the animated adaptations I think are actually better or hold up better than some of the comic stories. Like Under the Red Hood, I think that animated adaptation was stronger overall in the story than the original comic book arc, and just had a simpler, more streamlined explanation for Jason Todd coming back than Superboy Prime punched a reality wall and undid it. It's like I said before. There's a lot to like in The Killing Joke still, and it did make people stand up, and that's fantastic. I don't think we should fetishize it since it was 30 years ago, and even Alan Moore has said it's weird if you don't think stories have topped it since then.
Right.
But the Joker stuff itself, I think, really works for it. I don't like that. I don't like an example of fridging characters as part of like someone's pain. At the same time, there is something very beautiful about that Joker, like the Batman, is created by a loss of family.
Yes.
And so you have two people with a similar trauma, not identical, but similar trauma, and one embraced, I will fight for others and protect others and embrace hope. And one said, there is no God. And, if there was, he would stop me. And I think that's a fantastic thing. If they do involve the Oracle scene, like I said, fine, I get that that's a huge part of The Killing Joke. That's the cover.
I think it has to be.
Exactly. Yeah. The cover of The Killing Joke is him pointing the camera at you / Barbara. You are participating in the crime, in this sexually charged assault. But if you're going to do that, since we now know she became Oracle later, since we now have made her such a fantastic character out of that trauma, include some of that in the adaptation. Don't just have it because in the book it's sort of an aside. You see her in 3 pages, one of which she just answers a door, one of which she's shot, and then later she's in a hospital in tears saying,
it's a feature length, so there's plenty of time.
Exactly.
I think. Yeah.
No, and it's Bruce Timm. And I have a lot of faith in Bruce Timm. Bruce Timm, he's been there since the beginning of the DC animated universe, and he's done amazing work on all this stuff. And Mark Hamill has been wanting to play the Joker in this particular story almost since the beginning of his Joker career.
There you go.
So, yeah, everyone involved in this project wants to have a good story.
And I'm so, Tara Strong's good.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous. Oh man, I want to read for something like that so bad. It'd be amazing.
Chill with the coaster, dude.
Sorry. She's really good.
We just need to keep coasters away from you.
Just being the voice of one of them.
I just feel bad for the people listening.
Being the voice of one of those was so fun. That's all I'm trying to say.
I think a lot of people out there agree with you.
Yeah, but hopefully it'll be out, I don't know, next year sometime maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, it takes a lot for me to like animation, so.
This is
why?
This is one you're going to like.
Comics are animation.
This is one you're going to like.
I just, sometimes it does. Sometimes it takes a lot from me.
Really?
Yeah. You guys know
DC has done some amazing animated projects. And some of them are just solid movies, not just solid superhero movies, man. Like Crisis on Two Earths, that's an amazing DC animated movie. You know, the Dark Knight Returns animated adaptation. What an amazing adaptation.
Yeah, it's very, very true. There's nothing like live action to me.
Well,
all right.
It's a little, I mean...
we are in a culture where we have made it in our heads that like live action is the legitimate thing. If we like a book, we're like, oh, it should be a movie.
Either way, I can't wait for this. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm very curious to see what they're going to do.
So here's something that is a little interesting. So DC Comics writer Grant Morrison went publicly and said he's not a fan of the cinematic version of Wonder Woman. He says he doesn't believe it's what the creator William Marston would have wanted. You know, his original concept was that she was a doctor, a healer, a scientist.
Yeah.
And he says what we see so far is her with a sword and a shield and snarling at the camera. You know, he's entitled to his opinion.
We just have seen so little of her. We've seen so little that I don't know how we could possibly... I can't even make an opinion except for the fact that Gal Gadot is gorgeous and she looks badass, and that is all I know right now.
I mean, we saw the costume, or at least a version of it, in person at the DC Comics booth at SDCC. And yeah, it looks good. I love the little design touches where there's Greek lettering around the shield and in the armor itself. I love that it sits on her right, that you don't think she's going to fall out of it. Mm-hmm.
That's a good point.
And I think it is a great. The more I look at it, the more I think it's a great combination of superhero costume and armor, which is something. It should be a compromise. It shouldn't be one or the other. She shouldn't look 100% like Xena.
Right.
But
I think she looks.
No, I think yeah, exactly. Grant Morrison is a genius, and I mean, he's also a friend of mine. He's
name dropping, dropping.
But I mean, like, I'm just saying, like, we. Thank you. We like anyone else, we can all have disagreements on stuff. I agree with his major point about Wonder Woman. I think that criticism has more to do with the New 52 Wonder Woman. Has, at least until recently, a lot of the people portraying her have made her sort of this snarling, angrier version of Xena, less humor version of Xena. I think right now she's rocking out in Justice League. I think right now she's rocking out in a few other stories in Sensation Comics. I agree with Roxy. We have no idea what Wonder Woman's going to be like in this movie. Mm-hmm. We see one clip of her in costume where battle is happening.
And we don't even know what she's doing.
We don't know what she's doing. Is she fighting them? Is she fighting a god on Paradise Island somewhere? Like, I have no idea.
She's just getting pushed?
Probably trying to stop from fighting. Who knows?
But all we know for sure is that she looks good in the outfit.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, she has a sword and shield. I don't know that she has them out at all times. If she does, I would get annoyed by that too. Or is she only bringing it out because it looks like Superman's going to attack her? Like, we don't have a context yet.
Yeah, too early to jump.
It's way too early to jump.
I spoke about it a little last week, but I feel like the person with the most pressure on him is the Joker, and that's just because the character has been portrayed so many times. But at the same time, Wonder Woman has a lot of pressure on her too. This is the first live action version. I'm sure that she's working her absolute butt off, and it bothers me that people are casting these opinions before we have really anything to cast an opinion on.
And that's the thing. Well, it's like I was saying earlier.
That's what the internet's for.
I know it is. I know, and I can't blame anybody because I've done the same thing about other things too. But I want to give her the benefit of the doubt. I know she's not like the most.
I could totally agree.
Yeah.
Honestly, Wonder Woman's like one of the biggest things I'm looking forward to in Batman v Superman. Like, I'm really excited to see Wonder Woman in live action on the feature screen.
Yeah, me too. I'm really, really excited. In the chat, they want to know why do all female heroes wear high heels? Great question.
They don't need to.
Talks, yeah,
I don't think they should.
Look, as a physical therapist,
those heels.
As a physical therapist, I hate when women wear high heels. Period. It's not good for you. You don't need them.
She should have.
I'm serious.
She should have like solid boots.
You know what works?
High heels will not look. Guys will have sex with you anyway. You don't need high heels.
When did we just jump to having sex for?
I'm just saying.
Wait a minute. They're not. I don't think all women are wearing high heels to attract men having sex.
No, but they do because but why else would you wear high heels? They're not good for your body. You wear them because you look good.
I mean,
First of all, maybe you want to have sex with another woman.
But whatever. But you wear heels because you look good in them, but they're not necessary.
No, I think that they make you feel sexy and they make your legs long and there's all different things.
Someone's asking me what I think about Aquaman. I think that's
Changing topic.
It's fine. I'm just saying they're not good for you. You don't have to wear them. Don't feel pressured to wear heels. Is what I'm trying to say. It's a power move.
Unless you want to.
If you want
ladies,
to, fine.
For
You don't have to.
yourself.
You don't have to.
What do you think about Aquaman?
Aquaman, go.
I think this is an interesting new interpretation. I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah.
Aquaman, I think it's a good casting choice. And Aquaman I really like when he's been portrayed as sort of the Wolverine of the Justice League, where he's sort of like the rough and tumble character, where he's kind of wild, and that makes sense to me if you're from the ocean, which is really this uncontrollable thing of the earth, like then symbolically I think it's great that Aquaman would look kind of wild.
Yeah.
And
when they ask the question though, I'm wondering, do they mean the actor, the character, the movie, I
believe they mean towards this movie, because they're talking about Batman v Superman. And yeah, also the idea that it's he was saying they're looking more towards Pacific Islander stuff, which I think would also be very cool. I'm curious then what the connection is to Atlantis, since Atlantis by definition is in the Atlantic. But the comics have played with that a few times. They've had Aquaman on the West Coast. They've had like different aquatic societies connected to Atlantis that are in different parts of the earth. I'm very curious to see how Aquaman's going to fit into this and what kind of attitude he's going to have. I would hope he would be sort of the snarky Peter David Aquaman, or just has sort of a sense of humor about this, is sort of amused by these guys who think they're the most powerful things, and he rules 2/3 of the planet.
I see it. We still are getting a lot of comments about the high heels that are making me
Well,
ponder.
Aquaman wear high heels.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a personal choice.
It's a personal preference.
Personal preference. All right.
Personal choice.
Let's
And by
go a
personal
little.
choice, you mean the director.
On a lighter note, DC will be adding some lighter films to its slate, supposedly. If you want to read about this article, you may do that. You can go check it out at sciencefiction.com. Possible Wonder Twins coming out, along with the Shazam crossover in the works because of Billy Batson being involved. So the big question with this article is, does DC need to lighten up a little bit? I think it's a business move. Do I think they need to lighten up? No. That's personal preference, but for business purposes, maybe they do. I don't know.
I think they need to stop talking about whether they need to lighten up or whether they can tell jokes or whatever. They do what makes the best film. Do what speaks truth to the comics. Do whatever is going to make us love the film. Like, I just don't think we need to go into these thinking, wow, should this be lighter? Maybe we should make this lighter. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We don't need...
Well, I think that's where their question is coming from, that the people asking that, for them, it hasn't been working or isn't working.
What hasn't been working? The dark tone?
Yeah, the atmosphere and everything. It's like there's... And also, like, with obviously the different universes, and not everyone needs to repeat Marvel, and I don't think they should repeat Marvel. DC is a very different universe.
No.
But one thing that's worked for Marvel and has worked for some other franchises is that they've been letting some of the different movies breathe in a different atmosphere, even though they're part of a larger universe. So I think that is honestly the better question. Like, they've chosen their version of Superman, so that's that. I would like to see a bit more humor in it. That doesn't mean I want to see a funny movie.
But I don't think it has anything to do with the the humor in it, because the humor, because you take the TDK trilogy and it was very dark, and people, it's very well loved. People love that, and I think that it worked for it. I don't think that the humor would necessarily have helped Man of Steel for people who didn't like Man of Steel. They didn't like it for a whole...
I think the humor...
I'm not even talking about Man of Steel right now. I mean just in general their version of Superman.
I think the humor...
Superman is a character that involves a lot of humor.
I think the humor should be there if it fits. I think with Flash and Green Lantern, I think we'll see some humor, especially Green Lantern Corpse. How are you not going to have humor? Come on.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I think for me, it's to say the DC universe in general like could use some lightening up. Well, I don't know. I haven't seen what the DC universe in general is.
Right.
I've only seen one movie take place in it.
Like certain characters, it fits. We all saw Ant-Man. Of course, it's going to be a funny movie. It's a hilarious character, and the comedy was more than
and
I
likewise, again, it depends on what you're saying. Like Suicide Squad, no, that is as dark as it go for dark.
So as you say that, I Am Ninja Panda says Suicide Squad will have a lot of humor. David Ayer himself said so.
Really?
Yes, but it's also what kind of humor, which I think is the other
like
thing.
The Harley kind of humor.
You've got the twisted humor. Like when I talk about, I think Superman in general could use more humor. I don't mean like Harley's sense of humor.
Right.
You've got to tackle it for each character, but also you're going for your interpretation. Like again, it's my preference. this is Snyder's Superman, and so he's rocking that out.
Right. I look at it based off of the TV shows. You know, do I like things that are lighter? Of course, you guys know I love The Flash. Do I like things that are darker? Yes, I love Arrow and everything else in between. I think that there's a time and a place for everything. And by no means am I saying, because I know somehow somebody's going to misinterpret this and say Roxy hates humor, just the way people say DC hates humor. That is just not the case.
It's not a humor. Sorry. Go ahead.
Wow.
Anyway.
30-year-old film reference.
I'll
Very
see
nice.
myself up.
Anyway.
Here we go. It's now time for
TV time.
Speaking of Green Lantern, apparently Green Lantern Corps
You cut me
means
so short,
yeah,
Johnny.
I do it every week. Green Lantern Corps will probably mean
Corp.
no
Corp, yeah.
corpse. I like saying corpse.
But that's a body.
I know, but it's I like
The
saying
S
corpse.
is silent.
But for me, it's corpse.
Okay. Talk about the Green Lantern decaying body.
Yikes, whole different movie.
Apparently it means no cameo in Arrow or The Flash, Roxy, even though they've had some Easter eggs in there referring to the Green Lantern.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a shame.
This is why it's kind of strange. Number one, TV is the trailblazer right now. You know, they have dropped these hints and everybody's hoping that it comes. And I think it still can come because how ironic is it that we can't have Green Lantern in the TV universe, but we can have the Flash in the movie universe? I'm not understanding. Same thing with Deadshot. Same thing with all of these other characters. Why are they putting the kibosh on Green Lantern Corps? I don't get it.
Probably not.
It depends. It's a case by case basis because, you know, when the Batman cartoon came out, they were allowed to use lots of Batman villains, but they weren't allowed to use Two-Face because Chris Nolan said we're going to explore Two-Face. So he basically called dibs. Like he didn't want any other version of the
one
studio.
character. We're talking about the whole Green Lantern Corps.
But it's all connected to one character. It's all the Green Lantern.
Yeah, I get it, but I already feel like we've referenced Jon Stewart so many times, and no, did I want John Diggle to end up being Jon Stewart? That is not what I'm saying, but I do think that there is a place on television for a version of the Green Lantern.
I completely agree, but it's also sometimes like whether licensing will let you. You know, they couldn't use Batman in Smallville.
Someone did just mention, Tommy D says Green Lantern is very expensive, so that could be something there too.
But there are ways around that. I mean, so is a Kryptonian hero, and Supergirl's on CBS now. You know, there are ways around that. There are also you don't have to go into space with a Green Lantern story. I mean, Denny O'Neil made a whole career of having Green Lantern on Earth road tripping with Green Arrow.
Also, we don't need Green Lantern to be in every single episode of the show.
Yeah.
Green Lantern can make an appearance. It bums me out because I don't want TV to be restricted by the movies because I think that TV is doing such a good job with DC right now that it makes me
unfortunately, like that's always happened with Warner Brothers.
I know.
Like, I mean, they likewise with the Batman. You know, they couldn't use. After the Batman started, Justice League Unlimited couldn't use any Batman characters other than Batman himself. So suddenly you didn't see Alfred anymore. You didn't see Robin or Nightwing or his villains.
All these people saying that CW can't afford the effects of Green Lantern. How can we do a Grodd, but we can't do a Green Lantern?
Yeah, you work out that budget.
Yeah.
You know, you figure out, and they do that at the beginning of every season. They figure, okay, we're going to have this episode where there's a frickin' time tornado. So that means in this episode, not so much.
This episode, we're sitting in the couch in the living room for a little bit.
Yeah, this episode is more about dating.
And here we go. From the Flash podcast, a friend of ours, he says, just use Hal Jordan in flashbacks. Before being Green Lantern, he does get referred to as the test pilot that disappeared, which
right.
is
and we know that Ollie went to Coast City for a while before he came back and began life as the Arrow. So I would still like to see that. But again, that's up to the studio heads,
right? It is,
and Snyder and other people, whether they want to do that or whether they'll be afraid it dilutes the brand.
Mm-hmm.
And shout out to the Flash podcast because we totally met at Comic-Con.
Oh, you did? That's dope.
Yeah, it was awesome. And
where's he from?
tweeted a picture. I don't know where he's from, but he was so awesome. And we were both, we were both doing press for DC Legends of Tomorrow. We were both in the press line for it. So.
Well, what a segue. We got some info on Legends of Tomorrow.
Oh, I did that on purpose.
Well, well, see, that's why you're a pro.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
With your sleeveless tee on.
Yeah, muscle tee, the beach is that way.
Showrunner Phil Klemmer and EP Mark Guggenheim spoke with Screen Rant, just talking about a whole bunch of things about Legends of Tomorrow. Roxy, I know you're very excited about it. They're describing it as kind of an Ocean's 11 where they're going to be forced to get along. There will be betrayal. There'll be plenty of conflict. And the season is meant to be a standalone, an anthology, not to the extent of True Detective, but it is meant to be a standalone and not necessarily a continuation.
Right.
Of
It's
seasons.
a miniseries.
Yeah.
Right.
That's dope.
When they were originally talking about it, they were saying that every 2 episode was going to be its own standalone, and then another 2 episodes. They've gone around with a bunch of different ideas on this. I know that the cast members have literally zero idea of what's going on here, which is great. We're all on the same page. We know nothing.
Well, I mean, the trailer for it, you have Rip Hunter saying, we've got to time travel. Mm-hmm. And so with the team of heroes there, I was thinking this was going to be like how the Justice League comics and the Justice Society comics used to do it in the classic Golden Age and Silver Age days, where even though it was a team, the original comics never actually had them together the entire time until the very end. What always happened, not always, but traditionally happened, was that you would have 2 heroes go on that mission, and 2 heroes go on that mission, and 2 heroes go on that mission, and then the last chapter of the story arc is when they were all together. So I just figured that's what's going to happen here.
Do you want to be my partner for the mission?
That'd be so fun.
Okay, we're this 2. Who are you going to go with?
We're going to be the Time Masters.
I'm going to narrate the entire series.
Excellent. Narrate us.
Okay.
Good, fine. Then they don't get to see your beautiful face, just ours.
I don't mind.
Roxy and Alan
most
went
of
through the time portal.
most of the jobs I get are not for my face, so I mean it's totally okay.
I'd hire you for your beautiful face. You're welcome.
Sup, girls?
I'm so excited for Legends of Tomorrow.
Oh my God.
I am stupidly excited for this show.
I think it's going to be so ridiculous.
It's going to be
good.
awesome.
Yeah.
What an incredible cast. What a great selection of characters.
I have the biggest girl crush on Hawk Girl. Oh my God,
damn.
Tyrion.
Hawk Girl. Hawk Girl is one of my favorite characters from the comics.
I love her.
She's amazing.
She is fine.
How do you spell that? Foin.
Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay. Okay, I see what you did.
Hey, Roxy, you're excited about this. The Flash reveals its suit for season dose.
We're
Yeah.
just
And
making
it's
little
pretty
changes.
awesome. That picture's coming up. Hey,
I love it. I love the white disc.
Yeah.
I love the white disc. It just looks right now.
When I was over taking my tour of DC, I started questioning on this before this got announced, and I was trying to tickle torture somebody. I was like, are they making it white? Is it going white? So I'm really, really excited to see them launch this. I'm excited to see the new suit and how it looks as he's wearing it. Mm-hmm. I love this freaking show.
Here's something I'm pumped about.
What are you pumped about,
Michael
Johnny?
Chiklis. He's joining Gotham for season 2.
So awesome. He's another Boston guy. I love him.
He knows how to play a crooked-ass cop.
Chiklis is awesome.
He's
the best.
So freaking cool.
I'll start watching Gotham again with Chiklis.
Worth it.
You'll start watching it because he's in it?
Yeah, I'll start watching it again. I watched the first 12 episodes and it just wasn't for me.
Yeah, I love him. He's so ridiculously talented. I think this is awesome. I'm excited to see what he does with the character and what he's doing in general.
And season 2 premieres September 21st.
Yeah. Isn't it nice when an actor gets cast that you just trust? You're like, okay, I can breathe. Like, I don't need to...
Look at his body of work, just not as an actor, but playing cops. I mean, The Commish, number 1.
Oh, The Commish.
Were you guys watching American
that was
Horror
funny,
too?
but still. What's that?
American Horror Story, were you just watching that?
I only saw season 1 and it scared me so much I haven't gone back.
I'm just not into it.
Wait, speaking of Johnny being scared, I hope that he's getting mad that I tell everybody.
What? What is happening? What's going
When we
on?
were at Comic-Con, there was this virtual reality thing of Arkham Asylum. You go in and it's this virtual reality.
No, it wasn't Arkham Asylum.
Oh, well, I didn't do it. I thought it was...
It was Asylum, like a crazy...
Oh, I thought it was Arkham.
A haunted asylum.
Okay.
Okay.
So
It's Oculus. Anyone know what Oculus is? It's an Oculus headset virtual reality.
So I didn't do it. I thought that's what it was of, though. And Johnny walked out in the middle of it, threw it down, and was like, that's too scary. I'm not doing it. So I'm thinking,
No, virtual reality? I don't blame you, man.
Yeah, and then in the replay, she records me. Gertler's like grinding on me while I'm getting freaked out. I'm getting haunted by crazy people in an asylum, and Gertler is just thrusting all over me.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just saying, I don't know if I trust your I get freaked out opinion.
I'm just saying, I
gotta
haven't
say
gone
though,
back.
like back on Flash, I'm also just excited, not just for the new suit, but we've got Jay Garrick showing up.
Oh, yeah.
We've got Zoom showing up, and a couple people in the chat room were asking who's Zoom. So there were 2 reverse flashes.
Do they mean who's being cast as Zoom, or do they mean who's the character of Zoom?
I believe they mean who's the character.
Okay.
Yeah, so there were 2 reverse flashes, and the first was called Professor Zoom as well, and that was basically the Harrison Wells character. That was Eobard Thawne. But there was also a second reverse flash that fought Wally, who was just called Zoom, and he was a profiler who just he suffered tragedy after tragedy, made some bad calls, wound up losing the use of his legs, and asked Wally to use the Flash time travel techniques to go back and prevent this. And Wally told him, look, I don't just go back in time travel
Right.
just
it messes
to help
everything
out
up.
friends. It's too dangerous, and half the time, also in the comics, Flash actually usually can't change the past. And so he's trying to explain this, and Hunter Zolomon, the profiler, was just like, well, screw you. You don't know what it's like to really go through tragedy. And
You seem to have a soft spot for him.
I think he's a fascinating character. He was made by Jeff Johns, and the whole idea, he eventually gets like caught in this time warp thing, and so he gets his own form of super speed, which is actually time manipulation, which makes him faster than the Flash. And where Thawne was trying to destroy Barry Allen, Hunter Zolomon as Zoom was trying to create more tragedy in Wally's life and other superheroes' life, believing that this would make them better heroes. He just went so nuts into that thing. I thought that was so twisted and awesome. So I'm looking forward to that.
Boom.
Yeah.
And
The
Chiklis.
Flash
Lots to look
podcast.
forward to.
And yes, someone brought up Jay had his own Zoom enemy. Yes, in the Grant Morrison issue, Day in the Life of the Flash, Jay Garrick revealed that someone had built a robot reverse Flash of him. And then also in the 1940s, there was Rival, who was a scientist who had his own version of super speed and wore the same costume except black.
All right.
Gets
why
me
we-
giddy talking
That's why I
about
have on
Flash.
the Professor Sizzler.
Yeah. Love the Flash.
Couple things left. Supergirl's going to introduce Lucy Lane, who's going to play Jimmy Olsen's ex. In the 3rd episode, she will make her debut.
Superwoman.
So there we go. When is that drop in October?
Yeah.
October 20-something, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
This is interesting. It seems like they're gonna introduce every character but Superman on the show. We're just gonna keep referencing him as he's somewhere off doing his own thing.
Well, it's a different city.
Yeah, it is.
He's busy.
But family is family.
I don't visit my family all the time.
That's
Not all of the time, but sometimes.
Even if I could fly myself, I wouldn't visit all the
No,
time.
Things get busy.
You know?
I'm just saying. I actually really.
Jet
I think
lag.
the show is going to be awesome. I have all the faith in the world in DC TV. I think that cool. Would love to see Superwoman. Great. I'm loving hearing all the casting news, and this show just keeps sounding better and better.
And lastly, we have a sand sculpture for all of you, and it is everything you could ever ask for.
I
How
love this.
freaking cool is this?
I love this.
So if you guys are
Wow.
listening to us on iTunes or Stitcher, wherever you are, maybe you should switch over to YouTube for a second just to look at this frickin' statue.
Batman and Joker, a sand sculpture.
Can
Good
you
God.
meet?
Holding hands.
Yeah, I guess I can't call it a statue. If it's made of sand, can it be a statue?
It has at the bottom written "My Better Half." I like to think of it as one true pairing.
Hey-o.
All right. How
do
many
you do that?
hours would this take somebody? Like, it's got to take days.
I mean, yeah, this would take me at least a day. What about you, Johnny?
I mean, if am I hungry? Then maybe.
Oh
a little
yeah,
bit
I know.
longer.
You got a break for lunch.
I mean,
Oh, you're right. I hadn't considered that.
Yeah.
So maybe a day and a half.
I want to brag about my skills.
No, this is absurd.
Yeah.
This is absurd.
Where is this? Do we know?
I don't know. On the beach.
The artwork. I mean, thank
you
you.
really just
Yeah,
say
good call.
that?
Good call.
Did you really just say
Near
on
the
the beach?
water.
Right near the beach. No, I mean the detail in this is uncanny. Look at Joker's face.
I know.
Like, how do you even get sand to hold up like that? That's what's confusing to
All
me.
right, I used to actually
There
compete
are
in sand
ways.
castle building contests. That's a
Obviously.
true story. I was a squand master. Do you guys know what squand is?
I sure don't.
I don't.
All right, well, now maybe I'll tell you
Squishy
guys. Maybe I'll let
sand.
you guys know after the show.
Hey.
But it's a perfect combination of water and sand that
So
goes
squishy
into
sand.
this. No.
You know what's even funnier? Someone just pointed out in chat roll, the Joker stepping on Batman's foot.
Yes, he is.
Oh, that's adorable.
Well
That's
caught.
so
Well
cute.
caught.
I
Yeah,
love it.
it's really good. The wind blows. He must be pissed. Thank you, the Neon Empire.
Do we have time for any questions, or we're pretty much at it?
Yeah, we're kind of out of time.
We're pretty much up against it. You know what, though? That just means...
But you know what we've done?
Contest!
Yeah.
Contest!
You
Roxy,
go.
take it away.
Oh, Roxy. Okay, so guys, you guys were awesome last week. We're extending this contest for one more week, though, because you guys were so awesome. We are giving away 2 PS4 video games to you guys if you go to iTunes and write a review. Give us that 5 stars, write a review, and do something. People have been writing poems. They've been writing really
good
cool
ones.
stuff
Yeah.
about us. We really, really appreciate it. It's awesome. It helps us out. Then you get some
Yeah.
cool prizes. If you do decide to do this, leave your handle so we can find you. There are a couple great ones that I was like, ooh, wow, This is awesome.
Yeah.
I can't ever find you.
That guy KJ is probably in the lead so far. He left an amazing review, but there's been some really good ones, so it's going to be a toss-up. And it's simple. You leave an amazing review. We're going to pick a winner. We will pay for it out of our own money to send it to you. We'll take our time out of our day. We'll send it to you because we care that much. So
you're such a mensch, Johnny.
What does that mean?
Oh,
it's a good guy.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Jews say it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. And guys, in case you wanted to know how Johnny likes to be bribed, there is a way. He wants somebody to draw him. Dear God, so I can stop hearing him talk about it. Draw him.
Draw us. Draw us as something cool. We need a new logo for the show.
Yeah, that's true.
We do.
Anyway, so if you guys want to compete, go to iTunes, rate and comment, and leave your handle, and we could send you some cool stuff.
That's it. So there we go. Contest continues another week. And like I said, watch Adam Gertler tonight on the FYI network. And if you aren't listening or watching presently on a Thursday, look for the reruns on FYI. Support him, support the show. With that said, Alan Scissor Kistler, talk about yourself.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Sizzler Kistler. You can find my book, Doctor Who History, and the unofficial Game of Thrones cookbook over at Barnes & Noble, Amazon.com, a few other booksellers. I also contributed a chapter to the newly released The Walking Dead Psychology.
Cool.
And Crazy Sexy Geeks is the podcast you can find on SoundCloud.com or iTunes. Also, I will be signing at the comic book store Villainous Lair in the first week of August in San Diego.
Love it.
I'm going to go just to get your signature.
Roxy Striar.
Yeah, that's the only way you can get my signature, Roxy.
I figured.
You cannot ask me here.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in every week. You can find me everywhere at Roxy Striar. You're the absolute best. Don't forget to compete if you want a chance to win the PS4 game.
Indeed, at Jay Quasto on the Twitter, at DC Movies SK, Facebook.com/DC Movies SK. And like I said, Brea Improv, if you're in Southern California, I'm headlining this Wednesday the 29th. It's also a really special show because I'm going to the Middle East next week to entertain the troops. So it's kind of like my Goodbye America show, which would be really cool. But I will be here next week.
You're a good man, sir.
Oh, thank you, sir. Other than that, jlocomedy.com. Plenty of fun stuff coming up. And thank you all so much for listening. Thank you for watching. Everyone in the DC movie universe. We'll see you next week. Woo!
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.